And we're live. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Business Hot Seat with Dr. Noels. I have a very important guest with me today. I'd like to thank everyone who's coming on live to join us. We're going to have a wonderful time. I am particularly excited about today because what I want to share with you is going to be so mind blowing. So if you're a woman, you're a man, you have a business, or you're trying to get into a new career path, whatever it is you're trying to do, this will be beneficial to you. So I want you to sit back, relax, have a glass of water, and enjoy this session with us today. So I'd like my guest to introduce herself. Thank you so much for joining. Can you tell my audience what your name is and your profession, please?
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Naomi. My name is Olumiwa Adejumo. I wear two caps actually. I'm in career and I'm also in business.
Oh,
Even in my career, I've got two caps yet again because I
wow.
studied accounting. I studied
Wow.
accounting, so I'm a chartered accountant. But along the
Okay.
line, I got some interest in HR, so I switched
Mm.
briefly into HR. So I have a CIPD diploma also in HR, right? I have
Yeah.
about 18 years plus of experience, most of which has been in audit and finance related area, right? And then I
Mhm.
have about 7 years experience in HR, ranging from HR business partner and recruitment.
Mm.
So my last role was head of recruitment, you know.
Wow.
And in terms of business, I recently launched Trouve Agent Consulting. It's a consulting outfit. Basically, it's been out of my passion to help women. You know,
Yeah.
I generally feel like every woman ought to be financially independent and empowered. And I see that a
Yeah.
lot of women struggle with that area of their lives. Either we're in business and we are not growing that business as we ought to, or we are
Mhm.
treating the business as a hobby, or
Yeah.
we are unable to find funding to grow the business for
Mm.
various reasons.
Yeah.
To address that issue, I founded True Version, which basically is
Mm.
a French word for find money, because
Wow.
money is the oxygen for every business. No
Yeah.
matter how big you are, if you
Mhm.
run out of cash, you're going to
Mm.
go extinct.
Mm.
So having money is extremely crucial for every business. And seeing
Yeah.
that a lot of women struggle to access funding,
Mm.
they have more struggle. It's not like the men who don't struggle, but there's a research to back it up that for every five men that gets money, it's only one, and that's
Mm.
even a very high percentage actually. And we don't
Mm.
even access as much funding as the men.
Mm.
So there has to be
Yeah.
something done in that space. What are we not doing right? Can we better do it? How can
Mhm.
we help each other?
Mhm.
This is what have
Yeah.
driven me to set up True Version
Mhm.
Consulting. So part of the things that we do there
Mm.
in True Version is to organize trainings, you know,
Mhm.
business empowerment trainings. Like, for example, we had last month a business training on how to write a solid business plan. A lot of people say
Wow.
they have a business plan, but when you take a look at the business plan, as an external person, you are not confident to put in your money there because they haven't put
Exactly.
out their best foot forward. So, we had
Forward.
a
Yeah.
training which was quite well attended, and we received very positive feedback. We also
Mhm.
have templates to help, and then we
Mhm.
also do coaching and consulting for
Mm.
businesses. We're online on www.trueversion.com. Trueversion is
Mm. Mhm.
TROUVEARGENT.com.
Wow.
So we can be found there. So in a
Wow.
nutshell, that's about my career and my business.
I wouldn't say that is a nutshell because it's more like you're wearing like 100 caps on your head. It's not even two, it's not four. It's like a million caps, to be honest. I'm really blown away and overwhelmed. And I'm excited about having this conversation this evening because there's a lot to learn from. So, guys, if you're watching or you're just coming on, you're just joining us, send your questions, drop it in the comment section, and I'll put it on across to her. Okay. So, before we dive into, you really said a lot of things that I want to catch you up on. But can you let my audience know if you're married? If you are married, you have kids. If you have kids, how many kids do you have?
Right. Right. So okay, I was married, but right now I'm a single mom. I've got a child. a beautiful daughter.
Okay.
So yeah,
Oh,
that's
okay.
about it. Hmm.
Oh, that's
Life
awesome.
happens,
That's
so it's
awesome.
not such a
And so
big
I
deal.
hope, yeah, it's not. No, absolutely not. You're a power woman. I really, really admire you for that. So at what point did you decide that you wanted to, start your business in consulting, or maybe about your career? At what point did you decide in your life that, oh, I want to do this? Was it when maybe you were in uni? Did you have a clear path from the beginning? I want to study this course. I want to pursue. Has it been a smooth path for you? Well, how
It,
has it been for you, really?
it's actually been quite an interesting journey, to be honest. So I wanted to
Mm.
study the accounting, but the motivation was was very interesting. Really, I was extremely good in mathematics. I loved mathematics. I
Wow.
like money,
I can tell from what you're saying. I can tell.
and I didn't want to study in University of Ibadan because I grew up in Ibadan. So I looked at a course that wasn't in the University of Ibadan, which I
Mhm.
thought had a lot of mathematics
Mm,
and could bring a lot of money. And
mm,
that course was accounting. So I said, that's it. Accounting first choice, second choice, and third choice.
mm.
I ended up going for my accounting,
Wow.
you know. So
Mm,
and I found it quite interesting, really. And
mm,
coming out of university, the next thing to do was to have my ICANN, which is what I
mm,
did. So I got chartered. It was necessary for me to have hands-on experience as a chartered accountant. So
mm,
I made sure I got into the one of the big fours. So I worked with PricewaterhouseCoopers for about three
mm,
and a half years. So I did that, and subsequently I felt PricewaterhouseCoopers can't pay me the kind of money I need.
mhm.
you know
Yeah.
so I looked for an oil and gas company. So I moved into oil and gas. And I occupied the audit function, the audit role, for about 7 years, after which I had gotten tired. At that point I had done over 10 years in audit.
Mhm.
Excuse me. So I wanted something
Yes.
different. I knew I had the flair for consulting. So I wanted something that
Mm,
would still give me that ability within the company. I'm someone you could describe as an entrepreneur. I like to add value, and at the same time also add some value to myself while at it.
mhm. Yes.
So, and I found
Mm,
that I had a passion for helping younger ones. I had mentees, helping
mhm.
them with their careers and all of that. So I thought, okay, HR might just be what I need. And then
Mm,
the opportunity came, and then I grabbed it
yeah.
and transitioned into human resources.
Mm,
And I occupied different functions within the human resources
mhm,
function. So I did a bit of human resource business partner. I did a bit of
mhm,
reporting, and then recruitment. After which I also said,
mm,
okay, now I think I want to do something different. So I'm actually on my way to do something else right now. I'm
yeah.
transitioning into something else at the moment.
Yeah. Wonderful.
you
Wonderful.
know.
That's really amazing. That's really amazing. You see, I'm going to come back to your experience as, head of recruitment, working in HR. I believe there are a lot of there'll be some job seekers that would like to, get the best advice from you. Like, oh, how do I get into that company that I really admire? But first of all, I'm going to ask, how did you handle transitioning from having a job into having a business? If you still do work, how do you manage that around? Because most people don't know
Right.
how to make that transition. Because, of course, if you say you're going to start a business, there are, a little bit of scare that come around. You say, like, oh, am I going to be able to manage this? Like you said in the beginning, having cash flow is very important. So if there is no cash flow, there is a scare. You have this scare that, am I sure I'm going to make it? Especially, for some people, they do completely abandon their careers and pursue business. And you have a lot of people who come online to say, if you're going to start a business, ensure that it can pay twice as much as your
Mhm.
career. But in many cases, it's not so. It is not true.
Mhm.
Many people don't have that, opportunity and access to funds. So how are you able to transition from having that career to having a business? Or how, if you're still working, how did you manage to add that on and still be effective doing both?
Right. So I would say I've been lucky. And first of all, let me address the point of, having to transition into a business. I'll generally advise that, don't jump ship too quickly, because
Yeah.
really it's risky out there. So I'll
Mhm.
generally advise that start your business and grow it organically, a day at a time.
Fine, yeah, exactly. Mm, mm.
while you're still in your paid employment. With paid employment, you're sure that at the end of the month something is going to drop to that
Yeah.
point where you know that, right, I have at least twice as much as I was earning in my bank account. So even if this business
Mhm.
doesn't work, I'm not going to go hungry for the next 2 years.
Yeah.
So don't transition too quickly, because building a business takes a lot of effort, and it's always better to grow your business organically. When we say grow your business organically, it means, a stage at a time. You get your clients, you build your traction, and there's a
Exactly.
lot of work to do there, and
A lot of
which is
work.
probably why some people think I can't manage it with having,
Mm-hmm.
my
The job.
day
Yeah.
job. That's where there's need for support system. you
Yes.
know there's a need for support. Without a support system, it's going to be extremely difficult. So you have to wait and say, okay, what can I manage at this time? I had
Mm.
tried to start a business earlier on, but again, because I was moving from one role to the other, it was a bit challenging, so I had to actually stop. But what has helped me
Mm.
now is
Mm-hmm.
really the work from home. To be honest, it's as
Mm.
if God designed the pandemic for me. So it has
Yeah.
really helped in a lot of ways. One,
Mm-hmm.
start my day job at 2 p.m. and not go to bed until, say, 10 p.m. As long as I
Mm-hmm.
make sure that I have my, deliverables done that day,
Mm.
and then I
Yeah.
can sleep later and, work on true version, do what I
Yeah.
have to do and sleep much later to wake up a lot later, so it's
Mm-hmm.
more flexible now. Of course, I've
Mm-hmm.
got a good support system as well, and
Mm.
for the fact that people are now more open to having interactions on Zoom, virtual
Yeah.
meetings and all of
Exactly.
that. It has helped people
Yeah.
to be able to launch out and do a whole lot,
Mm.
much more than we would
Mm.
have been able to do had there not
Mm.
been, the pandemic that has forced us all to be at home. So, what point am I trying to bring out here? The point is, look at the opportunities as they present themselves and seize it. That's what I
Mm.
try to do. Seize
Yeah.
the opportunity
Exactly.
once it
Mm.
presents itself. Really, basically.
Mm. Yeah, I do like what you said about, working on your business one step at a time. Though it might
Mm-hmm.
be scary, like we said before, when you need to put in a lot of work, you need to be committed. But the whole point, if you do have something that you are passionate about and you are certain that I want to pursue, because I believe that many businesses, I wouldn't say 100% of all businesses had the funding available. So let's say we
Mm-hmm.
speak for those who actually don't have the funding available to start with,
Mm-hmm.
but many of the successful business out of that percentage, they had to pursue, take risk. They have to be sure about their idea. Even Facebook
Mm-hmm.
Live, Facebook now that we are on, Mark had to be sure and certain, and there are people who laughed at him and said, "No, I'm not sure this is going to work." But he pursued because he was sure.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to be willing to give the business that focus. You have to put in that drive. You have to invest the time. Someone said something, that I heard was really nice. He said, "You can't say I don't have time and don't have money. You can't say the same. I don't
Exactly.
have money and I don't have time. If you're not able to afford maybe a designer for your business, then you have to learn designing skills. If you can't afford a marketer, you have to learn marketing skills. So you can't say I
Absolutely.
don't have money, I don't have time.
And
You just sit down. No, you have to have one or the other and time. So it's either you're using money to buy time or you're using time to save money. So it's either way. So you have to switch it around. So it's really cool what you said. So what has been your toughest challenge as a woman in career, a woman in business? And what would you say has been, the most toughest challenge you've had? And that point you feel like, oh my God, can I do this? What has that been, and how did you overcome that challenge?
hmm, toughest challenge as a woman in career, I think basically it's you know, the industry that I'm in is mainly male dominated, so you have more men at the sit than you have at
Mm,
than you have women. So
yeah.
if you're not careful, that could impair your judgment in terms of how you can push yourself. You know,
Mm,
Yeah, because the men, they meet up, they talk, they network way much more than
yeah.
we do. So
Women
a
do,
lot of
yeah.
decisions are made not in the office, but you know, outside of the office. But then
Exactly.
woman, what you can do, we are not generally in that space of high level networking, is to make sure you're putting out your best foot. Do a good job. You may
Yeah.
not get that promotion as quickly as your a male counterpart, but at some point, someone will definitely remember you.
Remember
Someone will
you.
speak up for you
Mm,
and say, "This girl does a good job. It's about time she's
mm.
moved."
She's
So
moving.
I
Yeah.
think, yeah, I think being consistent at giving the best output at your work is
Mm,
what's necessary, and not focusing on whether or not you're a woman. Speak up when you need to. Some may argue that, oh, you're
mm.
too assertive. In fact, some may even call it
Yeah.
being aggressive. But what's important is
Even
know
arrogant. Yeah.
thyself. Know
Mm-hmm.
yourself. You don't have to remove your crown to make someone else feel better. Know yourself,
Mm-hmm.
stand your ground. Be
Mm-hmm.
gracious about it, and
Mm-hmm.
do your work. And
Yeah.
with time, the fruits will come. Yeah. So basically, I think that would be it.
Yeah. Yeah, so there's a lot of there's been a lot of issues surrounding getting the right workforce. I mean, someone who has been in recruitment for a while, how would you address the issue generally? Because there are many businesses, they have a great idea, they have the funding to scale the business, but they lack the right workforce. What would you say we should, as business owners or company owners, search for when we're trying to get someone into working for us, getting the person into employment? What would you say we should look at for?
Right. So I'll first of all say that it's easier for a big company to get the best hands. Why? They're paying good money.
Mm,
So it's easy to
mm,
attract talent. But for a
yeah,
smaller company, surely you're not going to be working to just pay the individual that you're employing.
yeah,
So you've got to
yeah,
you so it means that you are going to be working with raw talent. You're going to be faced
mm,
with the options of choosing raw talent. So
mm,
what do you do with the talent? What you have to look out for, first of all, is the aptitude to learn. Does the
yeah,
person have enough aptitude to be able to learn? Can this person be taught? Does this person have a
mm,
teachable spirit? And
mm,
then attitude. So a good
mm,
combination of aptitude and attitude, good character, would help you to find a right fit. Now, you
yeah,
don't expect the person to operate at the level at which you hit the ground running. If you're looking
yeah,
for someone who is going to hit the ground running, you are likely to run into hiccups.
yeah,
you know so look for someone you can train, who is trainable,
yeah,
who is ready to learn, who
mm,
has a good character, humility to learn.
mm,
That's what you should look out for. And then teach the person, expose the person,
mm,
empower the person,
yeah,
delegate to the person, and give
yeah,
the person time. And also,
mm-hmm,
it's also a good
mm-hmm,
thing to have in consideration. Perhaps sometime in future, if you help the individual to see your vision, to see where you're going, where is this company
mm,
going, when the person is able to embrace that journey, and see where the company is going, perhaps in future they can also be a partaker, in the business. It gives them some level of
mm,
loyalty to you. So these are the kind of
mm,
things that small businesses can begin to think of, and not think of
mm.
grabbing someone who is ready made.
Yeah, and then when it comes to, we're talking about the other side of the world, for job
Mm-hmm,
seekers, I'll say for job seekers,
mm-hmm,
there are many who they are not at that level where they feel like, oh, I'm ready to get into employment, or I want to get into employment, but I feel like I'm not adequate enough. When you talk about training, there are some who you train, at the end of the day, they don't put their best foot forward, or they end up maybe you having issues with someone stealing from the company and all that. It kind of like discourages a lot of business who, they're out there and they look for raw talent. But then it puts people in a very tight situation where they feel like, I'm genuine. I may not have the necessary qualification. I'm a hard worker, but how do I get into the workspace? What would be your advice for such a group of people?
you just have to keep trying. Obviously, load yourself with a lot of skills. you know and
Mm,
what I tell my mentees first is, where do you see yourself in 10 years? That's the first question I ask. Because
mm,
you cannot have no vision and expect to get the best out of life. You have to live deliberately. So once you have your vision, then you equip yourself with all the necessary skills. you chase those dreams. So
Mm.
if, for example, you're thinking of being an accountant, a chartered accountant, the best accountant in town or whatever, you know that you should do your certification exams. You know you should put
Yeah.
yourself out there. You know you should be looking for accounting
Mm.
related roles. It could be bookkeeping, it could be, financial reporting. Put yourself out there. Learn the skills.
Mm.
Not only should you learn accounting skills now, we know that
Mm-hmm.
it's important to also be literate with computer,
Yes,
learn
exactly.
good
Yeah.
Excel skills. If you have good
Mm-hmm.
Excel skills, people will pay you to come and do stuff for them.
Yeah.
People are not looking for individuals, they're looking for skills, which is why I use the word
Exactly.
talent. So what
Yeah.
skills do you really have? Are they marketable skills?
Mm.
So these are the things that you should focus on building while you're still searching. Of course, you should also ask yourself, why haven't I found? Could it also be a question of attitude? Because if you put forward
Yeah.
yourself as someone with skills but with a bad attitude, nobody's going to employ you either. No big company will employ you, no
Yeah.
small company will employ you. So you've got to work
Mm.
on both your soft skills and your hard skills, which are your professional skills. Yeah.
Wow. So one last question regarding, the workforce and all. So as a recruiter, what are the things that you look at for when you want to employ someone? So I mean, when you talk about maybe interviews and all, when you have a CV in front of you,
Mhm.
what pulls your attention most? So at least people know what they should be focusing on, apart from the skill and all. What really do you look for in a candidate?
Okay, so first of all, in the role and the company I work for, we receive over 80,000 applications.
Mm.
Over 80,000 applications means I don't have time to look at a shabby CV, and
Mm.
that would go for a recruitment consultant as well, receiving
Mm.
hundreds of thousands of applications for similar roles.
Mm.
So you want to make
Mm-hmm.
your CV is your first marketing tool. It's your
Mm.
first point of contact. No typos here and there, no edges, off edges, and all of those things. Make sure that it captures the attention of the reviewer. Put your skills, your education, your achievements, put it first and put it forward. Excuse me. If you're a young graduate, you might think, but I may not have achievements. No, you're wrong. You do have achievements. When you were in school, did you occupy leadership roles in your church,
Mm.
in your association?
Okay.
Put it there. What did you do?
Mm-hmm.
What were you able to achieve? You know,
Mm.
Even if it is in your hall, your residential hall, put all of
Yeah.
those things in there. Put it forward. Let it
Mm.
tell a story about you immediately. Anyone picks up the CV. So basically, that's what you look out for when you pick up a CV. Is it
Mm.
well presented?
Yeah.
Does it capture my interest? Does it have tell of the story of the skills that I'm looking for?
Mm.
You know, and then you go through the selection process.
Wow. Wow, that's amazing. That's amazing. So, wow, thank you so much for that. I would like us to move forward to talking about to business owners, addressing business owners. So, I want you to talk about the concept of corporate structure because when it comes to funding, I believe that that is something really important. And I do believe that a lot of issues that businesses face, companies face, can really be minimized if they have a perfect corporate structure in place. So, can you please tell us what corporate structure is about and how important it is that a company should have this in place?
Right. Okay. So it really does depend on what stage you are in your business. So if you're just a startup, the
Mm-hmm.
structure is not what your attention is on, because you're probably a sole proprietor. You're probably just trying to, see if there's a need for your idea. You're
Yeah.
probably just testing the waters and seeing whether your assumptions are correct and ticking the boxes and all of that. But at the stage where you're looking for external funding, the truth of the matter is the external funder is not really looking at your numbers per se. They're looking at the people behind the business. So who are the members of your team? You know,
Mm.
who are the champions behind the idea? You need to have a solid team with a solid experience. You need to
Mm.
also make sure that you have your finance in place. When I say finance, I mean your financial structure. So if a funder says, how much revenue have you made in the last 3 years, you should be able to call that up. You don't have to be an employer of an accountant to do that, because obviously as a startup, you want to start lean. You can, there are
Yeah.
SME desks, in out there in companies. Take for example PricewaterhouseCoopers, they have an SME desk. I'm sure the same applies to other big fours. There are also smaller accounting firms that are, targeting SMEs. You can just have a retainership with them, or a one-off contracts with them, to get them to put your
Yeah.
books in place. The important thing is that your book is kept in place properly. You can easily call it up.
Mhm.
If you need audited financials, you can easily get that. So your contracts as well is important for you. If you've already been in business for a while and you've built transactions, you've built traction, and you
Yeah.
have agreements with various partners, it's necessary for you to also make sure you have your contracts in place. Like I said,
Yeah.
you don't have to have a legal person in house, because that's more
Mm.
expensive for you. The person is not always going to have something to do, and there's really isn't any points paying salary. You can always get a one-off
Yeah. Exactly.
contract, to make sure that they
Mhm.
look at the terms of your contract and all of
Mhm.
those things. In
Mhm.
addition, there are also platforms where you can buy templates. For
Mm.
example, with us, because we're not legal or anything, we sell business plan templates, for example. But if
Mm.
you're looking for partnership agreement templates, there are
Mm.
platforms out there where you can
Yeah.
actually buy a
Mhm.
solid template,
Yeah.
and you can put in
Mm.
the work. So you're not going to be paying
Yeah.
as much to a legal
Yeah.
practitioner who's going to just take a quick review of it. So
Yeah.
these are the kind of
Yeah.
things that you want to make sure that you have in place. So once
Mhm.
an opportunity for funding comes, you're not struggling to find,
Yeah.
your financials. You're not struggling to say, okay, these are the contracts that we have in place. These are
Please.
the
Yeah.
agreements that we have.
Mm.
All of these things,
Mhm.
you don't need the structure of a big company with a CFO and all of that. With time, you
Yeah.
begin to build that up.
Okay.
It's a gradual process where
Mhm.
you have to have, your CFO, your CMO, and a COO, and all of those things. But the one thing that you want to make sure that you have in place is that you have a structure
Mm.
where you have
I think she's having a network challenge and she'll be back up in a minute. Less than a minute actually. So what's going on? So just like she was saying about you setting your business up for opportunities, um talking about handling your financials and getting your contracts in place and all that. There's very simple ways of doing that. I'm sure a lot of persons are familiar with Google Docs, Google Sheets, Google Forms, all that. You can very much organize your business transactions on there. For example, you can put them on Excel. You can have your customer details on Google Docs. Just try to manage and have a proper, customer relationship, management system in place. Try to avoid or minimize you writing on books and not having anything saved online. It's very important you start practicing this because if you many people do businesses like when we're having a conversation, she did say that many people do businesses just as a hobby and not actually as a business. So, meaning that many people do not have like a plan for 5 years, a plan for 10 years, they just have a plan for now. So, it's important that if you do see a big vision for your business and you do see your business going somewhere really important, you have to start preparing yourself for that opportunity. So, when the opportunity comes, you are very much ready. I did a class on using digital technologies to improve profitability in business. And I'm going to share that the video on my YouTube channel. I'm going to make it available on my Instagram. So if you're not following me on Instagram, please follow at Dr. Naminos on Instagram. I'm going to put a video up so you can learn. I did a practical I did a practical workshop on how to set up Google Sheets, Google Docs, what you need to do. There's a live example I used to show you how I enter customers' data, how you manage these things is very, very important as a business owner. If you want to scale your business, you need to be ready, you need to be prepared. It's very, very important. And then she talked about corporate structure as well, saying that it's not really important for every business owner to have that corporate structure, but you need to prepare yourself ahead of it. So I'm going to take a 1 minute break and I'll be right back with her. Hi everyone. Yes, and we are back. Yay,
Okay,
we're
sorry
back. I'm
about
so
that.
sorry for that break in transmission. I'm glad you're back. Yay, I'm happy. Yeah, so sometimes network can be very, very frustrating. Yeah, so
Yeah.
I was just saying, continue from where you stopped talking about using like the very popular software you can use, like Google, for example, have Google Sheets, Google Docs. You can use that to keep customers' data. You can use that to keep track of your expenses using Excel. It's very simple. You don't need to complicate things with formulas. That's what I was just saying
Mm-hmm.
before, and I had to call you back. So
Right.
I want you to just continue from what you were saying. So at what point in business does one realize that, or does one need to introduce corporate structure? What is the essence? Like, what's the benefit of having a
Co-
corporate structure?
Having a corporate structure gives more it gives a sense of seriousness to your business, you see.
Mm,
It does give a sense of seriousness because the person is responsible for finance is not the person responsible for marketing. Everybody is
yeah.
dedicated to their own work, you know.
Mm-hmm,
But you have to
mm-hmm,
have built your business to a certain level for you to be able to, afford that structure. Having said that, while you're building your business, you also need, like I mentioned earlier on, you also need to have at the back of your mind that you're going to be able to, have separate functions.
yeah.
So you're looking at where to get the right skills, to build your team. Like I mentioned,
Exactly.
building your team is an important
Yeah.
part of the growth of
Mm-hmm,
your business.
mm-hmm,
Because if you're going to be getting external funding, you definitely have to have a great team. Even if you're
mm,
going to the bank, every person who is going to bring their money outside of you and your family wants to know who is behind the business,
business, yeah.
and what are they doing? What have they achieved? Why are they there? You know. So at the point at which you're thinking of, okay, I might be needing external funding now, you must begin to think of, having some structure, putting some structure in place.
Mm,
Even if you don't have human beings occupying those roles, at least
yeah.
define, show that
Define.
you know that you need those
You know what
roles.
you're doing.
I'm going to
Exactly.
have a CFO to be responsible for XYZ. I plan
Yeah.
to have this CFO within the next 6 months. I'm
Yeah.
already shopping to have the CFO. These are the
Yeah.
activities I have put in place to
Please,
have
yeah.
that, or your chief operating officer, and all of that.
Wow, that's beautiful. Wow, wow, wow. I've learned so much from you already, and I'm sure that my audience is overwhelmed. More people are going to watch anyway. But let me just say, if you're watching, you have questions, please drop in the comment section. If you want to maybe speak to her later, you can do that. You can send me a direct message and I will connect you to her or follow her Instagram account, which I put on there. Yeah, I hope I got it right. Yeah, I think I did. Yeah, so she has a website as well. You can go to the web address, and if you need any assistance with, writing your business plans, everything she said, you can very much reach out to her. So I would say, how do you balance your, business career with your core responsibilities as a woman?
Right. Okay. So the first thing is, for me, my family is extremely important to me.
Mm,
And what I've always tried to do throughout my career is to always make sure that I communicate what's important to me to my hierarchy. So when I was
mhm.
single, church was very important to me. So
Yeah.
on my church weekly church days, my hierarchy, that's my report, the person I report to, knows that on Tuesdays and Thursdays I close by 5 p.m.
Mm,
However, he or she would know that I would always deliver on my job.
on your job.
The
That's
problem
important.
happens only if you don't deliver on your job.
On your job. Yeah. Mm,
So if I have to work 20 hours a day to deliver on my job, I do it.
mm-hmm,
I have zero problems with that.
mm,
Perhaps because I was trained by PricewaterhouseCoopers, and it's very hardcore.
yeah.
It's very rigorous there. So the important thing I want to bring out is be focused on delivering quality work. Let
Yeah.
your company know you for delivering quality work at the right time. Once you
Yeah.
have that, then you can always manage, your personal area. You can always communicate,
Mm,
you know, if you need to have a day off for your child and all of that, you
mm,
can always ask for that. So because for me, family is extremely important, but I also need to be able to put food on the table. So
yeah.
in the hierarchy, it's family, then of course work, you know.
Yeah.
So
Mm-hmm,
your family also needs to understand, because there'll be times where there'll be a clash,
yeah.
and you have to
Mm,
choose one over the other. That's why they call it work-life balance. It's never
balance.
really
Yeah.
balanced, really.
Yes.
Just that you try to, you
Compromises
know,
here and there.
like
Yeah.
like a seesaw,
Mhm, yeah.
yeah. So when those times happen, you also have to have a good communication with your family, your spouse, your whoever it is that is your support system, your parents, your whoever, uncle, aunt, sister, whatever, to step in. They need to understand what the challenges
Mm,
are and be able to support you,
mm,
you know. So you don't have to have one or the other. And I always say one thing, that a woman can have it all.
mm.
A lot of people say a woman can't have it all. I think a woman can have it all. The real question is, what is
Absolutely.
your all?
What is your
What is
all?
your all?
Yeah.
You
Mm,
need to define what your all is.
mm-hmm,
So at each time you're working towards making sure you have your all.
mm,
So for me, my all is making sure my family is okay, emotionally, financially, in every way we're balanced. And my work at my career, I may not be striving to be the MD of my company. Another woman might be striving for that. It doesn't necessarily mean that one
yeah.
is better than the other. It just means that we are chasing two
Yeah.
different things. So it is
Absolutely.
for you to define what's most important to you and work towards
Mm,
that.
mm-hmm.
At the end of the day, give your employer the best that you possibly can, and make sure your family too doesn't suffer.
Doesn't
So
suffer. Yeah.
for me, that's how I handle it. Make sure that my work at my workplace, everybody knows that I'll do whatever it takes to deliver
Yeah.
quality.
Yeah.
And so when it's time for me to take time out for my family, it's not usually a difficult thing, because I also weigh the
Because
circumstance.
when you deliver
Yeah,
on your job.
exactly.
Wow, it's
Mhm.
beautiful. I don't know about anyone else, but I've learned so much. I believe a lot of people will be grateful for this session that we've had. So, what are your last words? For those watching, for women in general, maybe something outside business or career. What's that one thing that you would look back on and say, okay, I made a mistake in this area, so I don't want someone else to learn, or maybe not probably a mistake, maybe a lesson or two you picked up along your way on your journey to your career or starting a business. What is that one general final word that you want to say to our audience today?
I would say be clear about your vision and dream
Mm.
big. It takes the same amount of energy to dream anyway. If you're going to dream big or you're going to dream small, why not dream big
Yeah.
anyway?
Mm.
Chase your dreams.
Mm,
Chase your dreams. Don't be limited by the fact that you're a woman. Put your best foot forward. Blow your own trumpet. Men blow their trumpets.
exactly.
We need to blow our
Mm-hmm.
trumpet because if they
Yes,
don't hear it, they don't know we exist. So
exactly.
blow your trumpet. Sell yourself out there. Don't sell yourself short. You know. So put your
Mm,
best foot forward. There's no
mm,
limit to what we can achieve as a. Have a good support system.
mm.
Very important. Yeah.
Very
So
important.
that
Yeah,
would be
well, thank you
my
so much.
parting shot.
Thank you so much. It's so beautiful to have you here and have this conversation with you. I know that today will not be the last because there's so much I can tell that you are willing to give, and I know people are just shocked by everything you're saying because you can feel really overwhelmed. Like, oh my God, I want to keep hearing, I want to keep hearing. They may not have any questions to ask now, but I believe definitely that my phone is going to start buzzing. Like, who is she? Where is she from? What does she have to say? What and all that. But I'm definitely that we're going to have another session very soon. I would just like to add really because what you said about putting your best foot forward, be clear about your vision. Many people have issues with creating that foundation, knowing where exactly to start from, and which is why on June 18th, that was my birthday. I did
Wow.
author a book called The Totality of the Complete Woman. Where I talked about the pillars of your, foundation, what you need to have set in place. It kind of like it's more like a mind shifting book, the whole concept. And I believe every woman should get a copy. It's on Amazon, it's on Okada Books. You need to be ready as a woman because our core responsibility is more of nurturing. There are many people who benefit from us. It's just like a plant gaining, energy from the sun and all that, and giving out. You cannot give out what you do not have. So you have to develop every
Mm-hmm.
area, set the pillars in place for
Mm-hmm.
yourself to blossom. And you cannot ignore, like you said, your core responsibilities. Otherwise, you're going to have problems. If you, for example, you're not giving your best at your job, then when you do ask for a time off, they're going to frown at you like you're not even working, you're needing a time off. But when you're
Yeah.
someone who is valuable, they become afraid to even say no to you. They're like, no, we have to. She doesn't always ask. But now that she's asking, I believe it's so important. They want to make sure that you are okay. You become so valuable. But many people, unfortunately, don't really believe this and they do have a sense of entitlement and they just feel it's not my business, it's not my job, not my company, so I should just. So, but I believe every company that is successful has one history or the other with having an experience with bad staffing and all, but they do really come up. But if you position yourself rightly as an individual, as a woman, putting in your best foot forward, giving value to people, when the opportunity comes, like she said, the sky is not going to be your limit. You will just blossom. You will just blossom. So thank you so much. Thank you again. I'm really grateful that you honored this invitation. I know this will not be the last, like I said. So
Thank you
thank
very much
you.
for having me.
Thank you. I'm going to let you go now. Have a good evening.
Thank you for having me.
Thank
I
you so
feel
much.
you too.
Okay.
All right
All
then.
right.
Bye bye.
Bye. Yeah, so ladies and gents, because I know that there are some men who watched the session. So I want to say thank you guys for joining in. Please share this video to as many persons as possible. I believe that there's a lot that many persons can learn. I've learned a lot as well. So just share this video. Follow me on Instagram at Dr. Naminos. You can also follow my guest on Instagram as well. And thank you guys so much for watching. So I will see you next time. I have another interview tomorrow. I'm going to post the flyer in a couple of hours. So stay connected and stay blessed and keep giving value. And remember to put your best foot forward. Have a good evening.